Holy light is fooling you. Completed. Unlock condition. Convince 15 villains to change their minds. 15/15. Awarded title. Super High School Level Priest. Do you want to unlock the title? When Lu Chuang sent away the last villain, the prompt of the game system popped up. Finished. Lu Chuang didn't have hesitation, so he chose Unlock directly in the confessional. Unlock successfully. Title. Super High School Level Priest. Description. May the holy light guide your path. Characteristic. Mana. Suddenly, Lu Chuang felt an obscure and mysterious energy springing up in his body, and then spread all over his body. His perception became clearer, as if there was a thin veil in the world, but now it was finally lifted in front of Lu Chuang. He could faintly feel some changes around him. Lu Chuang looked down and saw a looming shadow emerging from the priest. Could this be the so-called soul? Lu Chuang touched his chin, and suddenly had a guess in his heart. After Lu Chuang observed carefully, he found that there were some obvious black spots on the soul of the priest, as if his white clothes were stained with mud. Lu Chuang stretched out his hand to touch the priest. The energy in his body rushed towards the priest as if he was being drawn. Ignoring the obstacles of his body, he sank directly into the priest's soul. Under the infusion of this energy, those black spots that hindered the eyes gradually became transparent until they disappeared completely, not see. Well, the priest's complexion became rosy, and it seemed that he was about to wake up. Lu Chuang was a little surprised. The dose of this anesthesia injection can make an adult unconscious for 4 hours. It has only been more than 2 hours, and he woke up so quickly. No need to think about it, it must have something to do with the energy in his body. Judging by the state of the priest, this energy should have the ability to clear away negative states, and it looks like it has been purified by the holy light. Seeing this scene, Lu Chuang thought in his heart. Sure enough, it is the mana that often appears in film and television works. Wait, now that I have the mana, can I be considered a magician now? For example, I can make a fireball or something. Thinking of this, Lu Chuang couldn't help raising his hand to condense the fireball. By the way, what's the fireball spell? Lu Chuang was stunned. He hadn't learned any spells, and the spells he knew were probably only those in Harry Potter. After all, it was easier to remember only 4 words. Lu Chuang looked at the priest who was gradually waking up, and secretly gave him a tentative command. Stupid. After waiting for a few seconds, the priest showed no sign of coma, but slowly opened his eyes. This time Lu Chuang controlled the magic power to flow to his fingertips, pointing at the priest again and chanting. Stupid. The priest woke up, and he pointed at Lu Chuang with a terrified face, as if recalling what happened before he fell into a coma. Lu Chuang's eyes froze. He took out an anesthesia gun and shot at the priest, looking unconscious. Priest. Ah. The priest fell down again, and there was an imperceptible black spot in his soul, but it was far less than the black spot just now. Obviously, the anesthesia injection was not the real cause of the dark spots. According to Lu Chuang's guess, those dark spots should be other toxins left in the other party's body. In that case, the priest seems to have to thank him. May God bless you, boy. After speaking, Lu Chuang walked out of the confession room, only to see Matt standing outside with a blank face.
You devil. What happened in the confessional did not escape Matt's perception. He clearly heard how Lu Chuang tricked and abducted those poor believers, as well as the priest who had been murdered many times.
Lawyer Ma, you are a law student, so you have to be responsible for what you say. Lu Chuang said seriously. How can I be a devil? Anyone with a discerning eye can see it. I am a priest. You can't doubt my profession just because I am young.
Doubt you not at all because of your age. Just when Matt was about to refute, a black believer who came to the confession room happened to see them.
You. Matt secretly thought something was wrong. The other party must have spotted Lu Chuang's disguise at a glance. But what he was worried about was not Lu Chuang's identity being exposed, but Lu Chuang's reaction after being exposed. Matt couldn't guarantee whether this dangerous guy would become angry and act violently. Matt tensed up instantly. As long as Lu Chuang made any abnormal movements, he would immediately stop Lu Chuang. The black believer looked at Matt, and then at Lu Chuang, who was wearing a black robe. His expression suddenly enlightened. I'm sorry, Father, I interrupted your communication with this believer. Matt was stunned for a moment. It was completely different from what he thought. May I ask this believer, with which eye do you see that this guy is a priest? Apart from other things, can't you be a little suspicious when you see an Asian priest? However, what Matt did not know was that Lu Chuang, who has a super high school priest at the moment, is a perfect image of a priest in the eyes of black believers. His movements and smiles are full of piety and faith, and the sun shines through the glass windows of the church. On Lu Chuang's body, the whole body seemed to be surrounded by divine light. Just this special effect. Who else is the priest but Lu Chuang? As for Lu Chuang's skin color, who cares? God can be a girl, can't the priest be a yellow skin? The black believer prayed devoutly, hoping to get forgiveness from Lu Chuang. Lu Chuang drew a perfect cross on his chest, and smiled gently. It's okay, kid, you didn't disturb anyone. Even Matt felt it this time. Lu Chuang's voice seemed to have a special magical power. Hearing his words, the whole person involuntarily became calm, and what was even more frightening was that Matt actually had a thought in his heart that he wanted to confide in Lu Chuang. What exactly is going on? Matt's breathing was a little short, and now Lu Chuang gave him a really weird feeling. If the other party hadn't given him such a bad impression, I'm afraid he would also believe that Lu Chuang is a priest like a black believer. My merciful priest, thank you for your forgiveness. Looking at Lu Chuang bathed in the sun, the black believer felt as if his heart had been baptized. He couldn't help but want to confide his thoughts, and couldn't wait to say, Father, I have sinned, I have too many sins to blame. You confided. Sorry, kid, we're closed here, come back tomorrow. Ignoring the blank eyes of the black believers, Lu Chuang walked out of the church in a priest's black robe. Matt took a deep breath, and the shaky thoughts in his heart were instantly shattered. He faced the statue of God in the church with a sad and indignant expression. God, come and save your poor believers. The devil has come to the world, and even sneaked into the church as an undercover agent, with a very high position. If you don't show up again, your believers will collectively rebel and run to the demon's camp. After walking out of the church, Lu Chuang turned around and found that Matt hadn't chased him out. Thinking of Matt's expression of wanting to talk but forcibly holding back, Lu Chuang chuckled. Presumably now Matt has been so shocked by his super high school priest that he dare not act rashly. However, Lawyer Ma's soul is quite strong. Lu Chuang can see the souls of everyone, including Matt's soul. He can see that Matt's soul is stronger than everyone in the church, and even the priest's soul is no doubt like ordinary people. From this point of view, the soul has nothing to do with belief, and it is probably related to special energy such as spiritual power. Thinking of this, Lu Chuang suddenly wondered what his own soul was like. It couldn't be weaker than Matt's soul. So, he took a look at the glass as he passed by a restaurant. To Lu Chuang's disappointment, he did not 070 see the appearance of the soul in himself. Can't you see your own soul? Unwilling to give up, Lu Chuang leaned close to the glass and stared at him for a long time, and even posed several poses. In the end, he was very disappointed to find that he couldn't see anything, which completely dispelled his inner curiosity. Lu Chuang sighed, and when he turned to leave, a young girl suddenly ran out of the restaurant. Enough. I have endured you inside for a long time. Jingle. The door of the restaurant was pushed open, and a tall and thin figure wearing a hood walked into the restaurant, with dark green hair hanging from both sides of his neck to his chest, with thick metal bracelets on his wrists, and steel-toed boots on his feet. The rock and roll outfit instantly attracted the attention of many people. Ignoring the gazes around him, those dark green eyes, which were the same color as the hair, looked at the restaurant, and soon found his target, and walked towards the corner of the restaurant. As if aware of her arrival, a burly young man with long hair sitting in the corner of the restaurant suddenly turned his head and smiled at her in a friendly manner. After she sat down, the long-haired young man took the lead in introducing. I'm glad you came here. It's our first meeting. I'm John, and this is my companion Sophia. The red-haired woman sitting next to the long-haired young man also nodded towards her. Lorna Dane. Lorna replied coldly. She took off her hood, revealing a cold and delicate face. Regarding Lorna's indifferent attitude, John was not angry, and said in a low voice, Dan, we are sent by Ivan, and I invite you here this time to discuss an important matter with you. We would like to invite you to join the Mutant Underground. Yes, they are all mutant, from the Mutant Underground organization. The purpose of their coming this time is to invite the girl in front of them to join their organization. Is that Ivan woman? Hearing this name, Lorna's attitude improved slightly, but her face still had that expression of indifference, and she said calmly, "Sorry, I'm not interested in the organization you mentioned, and I don't want to join you plan, you should find someone else." Seeing Lorna's resolute refusal, Sophia tried to persuade. "I think you should understand that the ultimate purpose of our organization is to save those oppressed compatriots. Provide them with a safe place to avoid unfair treatment. Joining us with your ability will definitely help more compatriots." Lorna didn't speak. As a mutant, she naturally understood what Sophia meant. It's like racism between whites and blacks. There is also racial discrimination between humans and mutants, and it is more serious and extreme, so that mutants suffer from various persecutions in today's society. Mutants like them who are not obvious on the surface are fine. As long as their abilities are not exposed, they will be treated as ordinary humans. If it is those mutants whose appearance is completely different from ordinary people, their experience can be described as miserable. They are so small that they cannot find a job, and they are so big that they may be stopped by the police on the spot when they walk on the street, to face a clip of bullets. Even America has a bill specifically targeting mutants. As long as mutants use their ability in public, whether it is an accident or self-defense, the law will judge them as a felony and they can be arrested on the spot. It is precisely because of the emergence of this bill that many innocent mutants were directly arrested and put in prison, and the reasons for arresting them are also strange. The most bizarre thing is that there is a mutant whose appearance is too ugly, so it scares passers-by and was put in prison. These days, it is illegal to be ugly. Who is it that provokes whom? Since that time, some mutants who are not confident about their appearance dare not go out casually. Even the photos uploaded on their social accounts have to be carefully PS, so as not to be charged with unwarranted charges. And John and Sophia's mutant underground organization was created to save these innocent mutants. Simply put, it is against the law, and every member of the organization can be called an extrajudicial fanatic. To be honest, Lorna is also very angry about mutant status in society today, but she really didn't think about joining any rescue organization and running around as an outlaw. Sophia continued to persuade and Lorna failed to answer 10 words. As a veteran, John couldn't see what Lorna was thinking. He sighed, and stopped Sophia, who wanted to continue talking. "Dan, if you change your mind at any time, you can contact us at any time, but I want to remind you that the situation in Mutant is no longer optimistic, and we must prepare for battle in advance." John left a card with a number on the table, and pulled Fia out of the restaurant. Looking at the backs of the two leaving through the glass window, Lorna was a little dazed and didn't know what she was thinking. At this moment, Lorna suddenly noticed a figure in a priest's black robe stopped outside the window, just blocking her sight. I thought the other party was just a passerby, but Lorna didn't care at first. However, more than 10 seconds passed, and Lorna found that the man had no intention of leaving, so he just stood there blocking her full view. Suddenly, a head came closer, almost touching Lorna, so frightened that Lorna couldn't help shaking, and quickly controlled her body to keep shrinking back. Lorna clenched her fists and turned her eyes away as if she didn't see the other party. But driven by curiosity, Lorna couldn't help but glanced out of the window out of the corner of her eye, only to find that this guy still didn't leave, and even put on various strange poses. When Lorna saw this guy making funny faces at her, she finally couldn't help but burst out, completely ignoring the cold image just now, and rushed out of the restaurant. "Enough. I have endured you inside for a long time." Lu Chuang turned his head to look and found that there was no one else around him, so he was sure that the girl with dark green hair in front of him was coming for him. Lorna looked at Lu Chuang with a cold face. "What were you doing just now?" Lu Chuang blinked. "Look in the mirror, otherwise." Hearing his words, Lorna glanced at the polished glass of the restaurant, and found that the outside could not see the inside, so she knew that she had misunderstood. Most of Lorna's anger disappeared in an instant, and she restored her original calm face, and said, "Aren't you a priest? Why do you have to put on that strange posture when looking in the mirror? It's not good to be seen by those believers." Feeling the temperament of Lu Chuang, Lorna reluctantly believes that Lu Chuang is a priest. Although this priest looks a bit strange. Lu Chuang corrected. "I think you seem to have some misunderstanding about priests. Priests are also human beings, so can't they have their own little special hobbies?" Lorna looked at him suspiciously. "Are you really a priest?" "I doubt me." Lu Chuang's eyes widened. In his short career as a priest, he was questioned twice in a row. This is undoubtedly an insult to his profession. No, I have not. You are doubting me. Well, since this is the case, then I have to prove myself to you. Lorna's expression froze. Could the priest still buy and sell by force? Lu Chuang stared at Lorna for a long time. Lorna expressed familiarity with this look. He had seen it in the restaurant just now. It turned out that this guy looked at himself and others with the same look. After staring for a long time, Lu Chuang frowned suddenly, and said with a serious face, "Girl, I smell an evil dark breath on you. I suspect that you have encountered a demon." Demon. Lorna raised her eyebrows slightly. Father, are you serious? I don't remember encountering any strange things, so what kind of demon are you talking about? Lu Chuang shook his head. I don't know, although I am a priest, but to tell you the truth, in fact, I just took office not long ago, so the theoretical knowledge is still a little lacking, but I can smell it, this evil dark breath. It's very smelly, and it's not ordinary smelly, it's very smelly. Lorna was expressionless. She seriously doubted that Lu Chuang was saying that she was smelly, and she had evidence. Obviously, no girl can bear such an insult. Lorna's face became more and more gloomy, and she gritted her teeth and said, even if you are a priest, it doesn't mean you can talk nonsense. Listen to me clearly. I take a bath every day. It is impossible for me to stink, let alone smell like you said. It's such an exaggeration. As soon as she finished speaking, Lorna was startled suddenly. Something's wrong. What's wrong with me? This doesn't seem like her character at all. In the past, she was too lazy to talk nonsense with others, let alone reveal such issues involving her privacy to a complete stranger. In fact, under the influence of Lu Chuang's super high school priest, Lorna unknowingly let go of her defenses. Originally withdrawn, she actually stood outside the restaurant and chatted with Lu Chuang, until finally Lorna only then noticed a trace of abnormality. Lu Chuang spread his hands helplessly. Believe me, I really smell it. If you don't believe me, let me describe it to you. It's like blue cheese mixed with canned herring that has been boiled for several days and then put in a cool place. Don't tell me about the stench that comes out. I suddenly feel a little hungry. The corner of Lorna's mouth twitched a few times, resisting the thought of rebuttal, turned around and left directly. She didn't know what was going on with this strange feeling. But her intuition told her that she must leave here quickly, otherwise she would become more and more strange. To be honest, no one believes it. What happened to this society? Seeing the back of Lorna walking faster and faster, Lu Chuang couldn't help shaking his head. He really wasn't lying. Although there is nothing special about Lorna's soul, Lu Chuang saw a faint black aura around Lorna. This black aura is very weak, and it doesn't seem to affect the ability of the soul. It looks more like Lorna stuck it accidentally. With the blessing of mana, Lu Chuang has a special perception ability. Just like Matt, he can see everything through powerful perception without using his eyes. And Lu Chuang smelled the filthy aura exuding from this mass of black aura through mana. For some reason, when Lu Chuang smelled this breath, the mana in his body suddenly became active, frantically sending a signal of desire to Lu Chuang. Generally speaking, he was hungry and wanted to eat. As a priest, how can you just sit back and watch innocent people being harmed by demons? Not to mention, eliminating demons is the priest's job. Yes, that's how it is. Lu Chuang followed without any hesitation, while finding a reason for his stalking behavior. He wasn't worried about getting lost. The unpleasant smell had already been locked by him, and he could smell it a few streets away. Twilight Falls, Brooklyn, Stoke neighborhood. Lu Chuang stopped, looking at the open bar not far away. He could smell a lingering scent. Lorna should be inside. Without further ado, Lu Chuang walked into the bar. Immediately afterwards, he heard a deafening electronic sound. Dazzling colored lights flickered above his head, and on the spacious dance floor, countless heads were shaking restless bodies, and the air was always filled with a strong smell of marijuana. Stink. Lu Chuang glanced around the bar, but did not see Lorna for a while. So he walked to the bar, waved his hand, and called the bartender over. Sir, what would you like to drink? Give me a whole cup of erguoto. Just as the bartender was about to speak, he suddenly saw Lu Chuang wearing a priest's black robe. Have even believers in God fallen? Lu Chuang sat at the bar and continued to observe. The lights in this bar were very dim, only fancy lights flickering constantly, but this did not affect Lu Chuang's perception. The souls of everyone in the bar came into view, some of them the soul caught his attention. It's not like the translucent white soul of normal people. The souls of these people are not humanoid, viscous and foul-smelling, just a pile of rotten meat. Thick black mist exudes from the whole body. I have to say that this kind of picture is so visually impactful. If the camera didn't work, Lu Chuang would have wanted to record it and send it to Wade, so that the other party would know that there are uglier things in this world than him. Lu Chuang smelled it, blue cheese mixed with canned herring. This smell is so right. It seems that Lorna came to this place, so she was contaminated with the breath of these souls. So the question is, what are these people? Lu Chuang withdrew his gaze and rubbed his eyes with some discomfort. The lights in the bar were so harsh that now his eyes were all colorful. Seeing the black brother next to him wearing sunglasses, Lu Chuang patted him on the shoulder. "Brother, do you sell your sunglasses? Hey man, don't come find fault." This black brother has a full face and tattoos on his arms. As a black man who suffers from discrimination, he thinks that Lu Chuang is looking for trouble on purpose. He wants to teach Lu Chuang a lesson, but when he sees Lu Chuang, he suddenly widened his eyes. "Father, it's you. Why are you here?" Lu Chuang looked puzzled, and saw the black brother take off his sunglasses. "I am the priest, have you forgotten? We met in church before." Seeing the black brother's face, Lu Chuang remembered, "Isn't this the black believer in the church? In the afternoon, I didn't notice that I was wearing a coat. I thought he was a pious ordinary believer, but I didn't expect that he was still a martial artist after taking off his coat." Lu Chuang instantly entered the priest's personality, and said with a gentle smile, "Definitely I have not forgotten, my child. Every child who believes in the Lord is in my heart, and I will never forget it." The lights of the bar shone on Lu Chuang, and the black brothers knew that it was a holy light. Although the holy light looked colorful, the black brothers were still deeply touched and no longer wondered why Lu Chuang appeared here. He clasped his hands together and clenched his fists as if praying, and said reverently, "Father, you are a great man." R. Silent. This scene is perfectly normal in a church, but why is it so unsuitable in Barry? Since we are acquaintances, let me just say it straight, I need your sunglasses. No problem. If you like this pair of sunglasses, I'll give you this pair of sunglasses. Priest, if you want something to drink, just order me as a treat. What an embarrassment. Lu Chuang immediately put on his sunglasses, and said to the bartender, "Bring me a glass of the largest whiskey, and credit this generous believer." Father is a drinker. That's definitely. Bartender. Damn priests, damn believers, if the church is full of such things, it will be over sooner or later. So she's here. In the entertainment area of the bar, Lu Chuang saw Lorna's figure. Seeing that the other party was playing billiards with a blonde man, Lu Chuang narrowed his eyes slightly, and he could see that the man's soul was also rotten flesh emitting a foul smell. After saying goodbye to the black brothers, Lu Chuang picked up the whiskey and walked over. Despair. Lorna took the club and hit the white ball neatly. Following the inertia, the white ball crashed into another billiard ball, trying to knock it into the corner pocket, but the direction was a little bit off. The billiard ball was moving slowly, and when it was about to hit the corner and bounce back, Lorna's fingertips suddenly flashed a green light, and the billiard ball that was off track rolled on the spot, turned a corner and returned to the right track, and then fell into the corner pocket. Lorna looked up at the blonde man. "You lost. According to the agreement, you should pay me 500 United States dollars. Damn it, the billiard ball turns automatically." The blonde man's eyes widened in disbelief. How fresh, bullets can turn. What's so strange about the ball turning? When a familiar voice came, Lorna turned her head and looked over, and was stunned for a moment. At the moment Lu Chuang, who was wearing a priest's black robe, was wearing sunglasses, holding an oversized whiskey in his hand. His body was swaying with the dynamic music, and he walked towards them with rebellious steps. The blonde man was also stunned. This priest played quite wildly. "It's you." Lorna recognized Lu Chuang and said in shock, "Why are you here? Look at you asking this question. Can't you tell? Obviously I'm here to exorcise demons." Lu Chuang took a big sip of whiskey, his face turned red, and he almost couldn't hold back his mouth, but fortunately, the self-healing ability instantly helped him get the alcohol out of his system. Lorna. "Sorry, I didn't see it." Hearing Lu Chuang's words, the blonde man's complexion changed slightly, but seeing Lu Chuang's completely unreliable look, He instantly dispelled the suspicion in his heart, and looked at Lorna suspiciously. Is this priest your friend? Do not know. Lorna immediately denied it, staring at Lu Chuang with strange eyes. Could it be that you followed me here? How is it possible? Lu Chuang naturally wouldn't admit it, and explained. I just happened to pass by, and I felt that there was a devil's breath here, and it stinks very badly, so I came in looking for it. The corners of Lorna's eyes twitched. This is going to end. Didn't seem to notice Lorna's expression. Lu Chuang said seriously. Don't worry, with me here, those demons can't hurt anyone. You may not know, in fact, exorcism is a compulsory course in our church, and I'm the chief practitioner student, and has studied for more than 2.5 years. So, Father, are you here to exorcise demons? The blonde man laughed. Exactly. But why didn't I see your exorcism tools, not even a cross? The blonde man took a look at Lu Chuang, wearing a black robe all over his body, so clean that he didn't look like he was here to exorcise demons. Lu Chuang smiled and said, I am proficient in all kinds of powerful spells, even mere demons are no problem at all, not to mention, I brought the holy water from our church, no matter how powerful the demons are, they will not be afraid. Lorna and the blonde man looked at the whiskey in Lu Chuang's hand. This holy water is quite strong. Under the speechless gaze of the two, Lu Chuang took a sip of the whiskey version of holy water. By the way, what are you guys playing? How about adding me? Snooker, $500 a sentence, are you interested? Before Lorna spoke, a red light flashed in the eyes of the blonde man, pretending to be indifferent. Lu Chuang shook his head, and said in an anti-client manner, $500 is too little, $2,000 per game. Are all priests so rich? No problem. The blonde man nodded decisively in agreement, and turned to look at Lorna. Wait a minute, your $500 will be given to you later, won't waste too much time. Lorna glanced at the clock on the wall, and replied indifferently, hurry up. Before the game started, he seemed to think of something. The blonde man joked. Father, you don't know how to turn billiards, do you? Our church doesn't teach this. That puts my mind at ease. Despair. The blonde-haired man took the shot first, smashing all the billiard balls with one shot. It's your turn, Father. Lu Chuang put down the whiskey in his hand, picked up Lorna's pole, walked to the billiard table, and bent down slowly. Bullet time is on. Tap. Tap. Meow. 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 Lu Chuang directly made a miracle with all his strength. The white ball scrambled wildly on the table, hitting the target billiard balls from all directions into the corner pockets with incomparable precision. When the white ball stopped, only a small half of the billiard balls remained on the table. Blonde man. Silent. Lorna. Despair. As the last billiard ball fell into the corner pocket, Lu Chuang stood up cheerfully. I won, give me money. The blonde man had a complicated expression. Father, you are not a professional player, are you? How is it possible? I am the worst one in our church, how can I be qualified to be a professional player? Don't people in your church do business? Lu Chuang took a sip of whiskey holy water and spread his hands. Give me money. Seeing Lu Chuang's face that desperately wanted money, Lorna was a little speechless. She thought it was fake that Lu Chuang came to exorcise demons, and it was real to come to the bar to have fun. She rolled her eyes, then looked at the blonde man and said lightly, the money should be given. The blonde man smiled helplessly. I don't have that much cash, but my companions are nearby. Let's go find them together, and I'll return the money to you when the time comes. Lorna frowned, and her heart became vigilant. You can tell your companions to come over. They have something to do, and they definitely don't want to come over. Definitely, if you don't worry that I will run away, I can find them by myself. Just wait here for me. When the blonde man said this, he didn't say anything, and it was obvious that he would run away if the two of them didn't follow. Lorna felt more and more wrong. Just when she was about to say something, Lu Chuang suddenly grabbed the blonde man's arm, and said impatiently, Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and find your companion. $2,367 is worth one for me. The monthly salary is already paid, but it can't just disappear like this. After speaking, Lu Chuang dragged the blonde man out of the entertainment room. Is this guy getting into money? Watching Lu Chuang and the blonde man gradually walk away, Lorna took a deep breath and followed them. They're here. The blonde man pushed open the back door of the bar and brought Lu Chuang and Lorna to the alley behind the bar. Lorna walked at the end, and whispered to Lu Chuang. This person has a problem. Lu Chuang wondered. Don't you know each other? Who knows him? I just heard that there are people here who pay to play snooker, so I come here to earn a little pocket money. Lorna inadvertently started to talk too much. Realizing this, she quickly stopped and said in a muffled voice. Anyway, this person is definitely not a good person. If you find something wrong, I advise you to run away. She wasn't worried that she would be in danger, but she didn't think it was necessary for Lu Chuang to be involved. After all, it was about her and the blonde man from the beginning, and Lu Chuang was just a passerby who got in for no reason. Lu Chuang nodded. I knew it a long time ago, because he is a demon, and I smell an evil breath. When do you still say such things? Lorna was convinced. She felt that Lu Chuang was probably unreliable, and it seemed that she could only rely on herself. When the two walked into the alley, they immediately felt several eyes staring at them. They saw a man and a woman slowly walking out from the corner of the alley. Under the faint streetlights, there were two pale faces. Those two pairs of scarlet eyes stared at Lu Chuang and Lorna firmly, like a hungry wolf staring at its prey. The gazes of this couple were full of naked greed. In Lu Chuang's eyes, the souls of these two people are just like the blonde man's carrion, and they seem to be the companions that the blonde man said. Mark, this is different from what was agreed. Why is there an extra priest? Seeing Lu Chuang's strange outfit, the carrion girl said with some uncertainty. Maybe because of her lack of knowledge, it was the first time she saw a priest wearing sunglasses and drinking whiskey. The blonde man turned his head to look at Lu Chuang, with a cruel smile on the corner of his mouth. He appeared suddenly, and he just tricked him into coming here, so we can enjoy 2 meals. It seems that tonight is our lucky day. You're right. Let's say it first. I want to be the first to enjoy the priest's blood. The carrion woman couldn't help but licked her tongue, showing her sharp fangs. Seeing such obvious features, Lu Chuang instantly understood that these things are the legendary vampires. She looks like a dog on the outside, but she didn't expect her soul to be so ugly. In that case, that pretty girl is mine. The carrion man laughed a few times, his body suddenly exploded, and he rushed over from the front, much faster than ordinary people, and rushed towards Lorna impatiently. Although Lorna was taken aback by the carrion man's ferocious appearance, she didn't react too slowly. Green lights emerged from her hands, and the trash can in the corner of the alley smashed towards the carrion man as if drawn by some kind of force. Boom. The carrion man was unprepared and was directly smashed in midair. The blonde man and the carrion girl were taken aback. Seeing Lorna's hand surrounded by green light, the blonde man exclaimed, "Damn it! This girl is actually a mutant. Damn it, no wonder the billiard ball can turn, so she secretly cheated." The carrion girl glanced at him. Did you miss the point? Lorna's complexion was very bad. She didn't expect that these guys were not human at all, and the speed was so amazing that she subconsciously used her mutant ability to choose to protect herself. Zero. Now her mutant identity was exposed by the other party on the spot. According to America's Mutant Act, if someone reports her, she may face the risk of being arrested. The carrion man who was knocked down quickly got up, without any scars on his body, and said unscrupulously, "Mutant, or is it worse?" Hearing the carrion man's words, Lorna gritted her teeth. The green light of her hands became more dazzling, and the manhole cover under her feet suddenly floated up to block her. Her mutant ability is to manipulate magnetic fields, and metal objects are easier to manipulate. Stop talking nonsense. Kill this mutant quickly. This is Dickenfirth's territory. If there is a big commotion, we will be in trouble, the blonde man urged. He reached out and took off the contact lenses from his eyes, revealing a pair of blood-red pupils. Apparently, the blonde man is also a vampire. Lorna didn't have much combat experience, and she couldn't help but feel a little flustered when she saw the 3 vampires staring at her. After all, it was a matter of life and death, and it was really difficult for her, a young girl, to get used to it. She looked at Lu Chuang next to her, and said anxiously, "Run, these people are dangerous, just get out of here." Tun. Lu Chuang took a sip of whiskey and said calmly, "Don't worry, I'm a professional exorcist." Exorcism. The carrion man looked at Lu Chuang. He was neither tall nor strong, and he didn't have any props on his body. He laughed disdainfully. "Father, where is your cross and your Bible? Without these, what do you use to exorcise demons?" Use this. A pistol appeared in Lu Chuang's hand instantly. The mana was attached to the bullet, and he shot at the carrion man without any hesitation. Boom. The carrion man was headshot on the spot. Before everyone could react, the carrion man turned into a pile of ashes and disappeared. Carrion man is dead. The moment the bullet was shot into his body, the mana attached to it took the opportunity to rush into his soul, like sparks falling into an oil drum. The soul of that rotten flesh was instantly ignited, trembling crazily. Lu Chuang faintly heard the howl of the carrion man's soul, and was completely burned by the mana, and his body also burned at a speed that the naked eye could not catch. Not even the clothes on his body were burnt to residue, not even ashes residual. Needless to say, these vampires died quite environmentally friendly, leaving no garbage behind. Lu Chuang was a little surprised. He just wanted to try to add magic to the bullet to see what would happen, but he didn't expect the effect to be so significant. The vampire died without even the ability to resist. More mana. After purifying the carrion man, Lu Chuang could feel a slight change in the mana in his body, and there was actually a little more mana, although it didn't seem obvious. Apparently, killing a vampire also increases his mana? Thinking of this, Lu Chuang looked at the remaining two vampires with fiery eyes. For him, the more mana is definitely the better. Anyway, it won't do him any harm. Looking at the location where the carrion man disappeared, the blonde man and the carrion woman full face. Even Lorna was amazed. She thought it would be a hard battle, but as soon as Lu Chuang came up, he directly eliminated one of the enemies, bringing the numbers of both sides to a balanced state. This made Lorna feel relieved, but at the same time, she couldn't help but feel sorry for Lu Chuang. Identity curious. Are you really here to exorcise demons? Definitely. Lu Chuang was wearing a priest's black robe, holding a technological pistol in his hand, and said seriously, I even brought the strongest exorcism tool from our church. I didn't even look at it. Come? Lorna is confused. Has your church always done exorcism like this? As for the blonde man and the carrion woman, they stood there trembling. Originally, they thought they were hunters while Lu Chuang and Lorna were both prey. Now the situation has suddenly reversed. On the contrary, they have become prey. For some reason, they always felt that Lu Chuang's eyes were a bit piercing. It's sterling silver. He added sterling silver to the bullet. The blonde man's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and his voice trembled. This guy is a vampire hunter. You know, vampires are very difficult creatures to kill, and ordinary weapons have no effect on them. Even powerful gun bullets can still cause limited damage to them, and the vampire's body can recover quickly after being destroyed, so they won't be afraid even of humans holding guns. Unless pure silver is added to the bullet, this substance that completely restrains vampires can cause irreparable damage to them. As far as the blonde man knew, this method of filling bullets with silver was usually only done by vampire hunters who specialize in hunting vampires. He thought Lu Chuang in front of him was a vampire hunter. Lu Chuang corrected. I am a priest, not a vampire hunter. I am the chief trainee of exorcism who has studied for more than 2.5 years, and this is always just one of my many powerful spells. Facing the black muzzle of the gun, the blonde man and the carrion woman swallowed. You call this a spell? Lu Chuang came to the two vampires, smiled and asked kindly, tell me, what's going on in this bar and why there are so many vampires in it? The blonde man hesitated. Seeing Lu Chuang's finger on the trigger, he quickly said, this bar is Dickon Firth's private property, and it is open to all vampires. We can use reasonable means to take away the humans inside, so as to is our food. Hearing this, Lorna looked a little angry, feeling that she was being used as food by these vampires. Lu Chuang asked curiously, who is Dickon Firth? The carrion girl then explained, he is the leader of the new generation of vampires of the Vlad family, and he is very powerful. Lu Chuang understood, it means Jin Bin among vampires. Go to hell, vampire hunter. Seeing Lu Chuang getting closer and closer, the carrion girl suddenly rioted. They may not be able to defeat Lu Chuang at a long distance, but at close range, vampires are not afraid of weak humans. The carrion girl thought so, and the moment she was about to touch Lu Chuang, a fist with strong mana suddenly broke into her sight. Stupid. The carrion girl was directly thrown into the air, rolling on the ground like crazy, screaming miserably. The blonde man looked over in horror, and saw that a large piece of skin had been corroded on the carrion woman's face, and even the pale bones inside could be seen. The other party obviously used bullets without pure silver. How could they hurt their vampires? Lu Chuang sighed, and said helplessly, "Why do you say this is so important? I have already said that I know magic spells. Didn't you take the initiative to send them here for a draw?" As he spoke, Lu Chuang attached mana to his right leg, and suddenly stomped on Carrion Woman's head. Bones to pieces. The Carrion girl's head corroded and exploded, instantly turning into ashes, and Lu Chuang's mana increased a bit. What a cruel priest. As this AF * king murderer. The blonde man knelt down resolutely, and begged, "Father, I know I was wrong. Please let me go. You may not know, but I am also a believer of the Lord, and what I believe in is God." Lu Chuang was immediately happy. "With your status, I'm afraid you can't even go into the church." Lu Chuang patted the blonde man on the shoulder, and asked with a smile, "Do you have any money?" The blonde man nodded repeatedly. "Yes, I have $1,000 on me." "Take it out." The blonde man obediently took out the money. After Lu Chuang took it, he asked blankly, "Father, is this considered robbery?" "How come? This money is donated by you to the church, not to me. I just keep it instead." "Why?" Lu Chuang smiled slightly, and handed the whiskey over. "Come on. This is your believer's welfare. After drinking this cup of holy water, you and I are both members of the church." The blonde man was a little scared. Now that Lu Chuang's identity has been confirmed, the holy water he mentioned is probably not a simple thing. Maybe the whiskey is just its surface. Maybe this is really a glass of blessed holy water. The blonde man braced himself and sniffed the glass of whiskey, only to smell the smell of alcohol. After a moment of hesitation, the blonde man dipped his hand into some wine and put it in his mouth to taste. This taste. Isn't that just normal whiskey? Confirmed. This is not holy water at all, but a glass of whiskey. The blonde man took Lu Chuang's whiskey, laughed boldly and said, "Ha ha ha, priest, I've drained this cup of holy water. You can do whatever you want, and worship God." Ton. The blonde man gulped down the whiskey and soon reached the bottom of the bottle. He wiped the wine stains from the corner of his mouth, and shouted, "Good wine." As soon as the words fell, the whole person burned instantly and turned into ashes, and the wine glass fell to the ground. Is this really holy water? Seeing the scene where the blonde man set himself on fire, Lorna opened her mouth slightly. Lu Chuang proudly said, "Yes, this is the holy water I personally prepared, and the exorcism effect is amazing." He was right. This cup of holy water was indeed prepared by himself, because he added some mana to the whiskey, but the effect was not bad. After killing the 3 vampires, Lu Chuang could feel that the magic power in his body increased significantly. Lu Chuang turned his head to look at the bar, and suddenly had an idea in his heart. "Green elf. Do you want some money?" Lu Chuang grabbed the $1,000 given by the blonde man and waved it in front of Lorna like a dog. Lorna's eyelids twitched, she gritted her teeth and said, "My name is Lorna, not a green elf." "Almost." Lu Chuang continued to shake the dollar bills, and smiled. "I think you seem to be able to control the metal. Why don't we cooperate, and then our profits will be shared equally." Seeing that Lu Chuang didn't care about her mutant status at all, Lorna felt a little more relaxed. To be honest, she was really worried that Lu Chuang would report her. After all, many ordinary people discriminated against mutant. Although she is not sure whether Lu Chuang belongs to the category of ordinary people. Lorna crossed her arms and said, "What do you want to do? Let's say yes first. I will not do illegal things." "You think too much. I'm a priest. How could I do something illegal?" Lu Chuang looked at Lorna with an absurd expression, thinking that Lorna must have misunderstood him. He. Lorna made no comment. "Don't worry, it's very simple. I guarantee it won't be difficult. Gentlemen, if I could take a moment of your time, I would like to speak to you about our God and Savior." In the bar, a man was looking around when he suddenly saw a priest wearing sunglasses coming. His body was shaking with the dynamic music, and his speech was in a certain rhythm. The man was speechless. He didn't know whether to say that the other party was not doing his job properly or dedicated. You say he is dedicated, but a priest is having such a good time in a bar. You can say that he is not doing his job properly, but he never forgets to preach to others when he is having such a good time. Facing a stranger's initiative to strike up a conversation, the man didn't show any impatience on his face, but instead smiled strangely. Definitely yes, I happen to be very interested in God. Why don't we go to a quieter place to talk in detail? Okay, sir, follow me. The priest walked away with a dancing posture, and the man followed with a smile on his face. When the man followed the priest to the corner of the bar, the man squinted his eyes and was about to see if anyone was passing by, but he found that the priest took a step ahead, shaking his head and looking around like a thief. Just when the man was feeling puzzled, he suddenly felt his limbs tighten, his hands and feet were tightly bound by metal objects, and even his neck was locked by an iron rod. The man showed a look of panic, not knowing what happened. He could only look at the priest in front of him. Father, what does this mean? Don't worry, these are some necessary means of preaching in our church, and there is nothing dangerous. Then why are you taking my wallet? Lu Chuang took out all the banknotes from the man's wallet. His expression was joyful, and then became serious. This is my baptism for you, which means to eliminate the original sin and all punishments, and money is the root of all evil, which is a felony. Now I have helped you get rid of this sin, so you don't need to thank me. F*K original sin. I only know the crime of robbery, and now your behavior is robbery. The man was burning with anger, but accidentally glanced at a pile of ashes in the corner, and immediately showed what he thought was the most friendly and sincere smile in his life. Thank you, Father, you are so great, that, now can you tell me about God? I can't wait to hear it. Lu Chuang smiled slightly. Well, then I will send you to God and let him tell you personally. Under the man's terrified eyes, Lu Chuang raised a metal dagger with mana and pierced it into the man's head. The man couldn't even scream, and his whole body was reduced to a pile of ashes. Green elf, come out to wash the floor. I've said it so many times. My name is Lorna, not green elf. Lorna stepped out from the corner, with a green light on her fingertips, skillfully controlling a broom with a metal handle, sweeping the ashes on the ground to the corner. Almost. Lu Chuang smiled and gave half of the money in his hand to Lorna. According to the agreement, we will get 5 to 5 points. That guy named Faith is really a good guy. He actually set up such a perfect place for us. These stupid vampires came here by themselves after seducing them a few times. This wave earned blood. Confirmed, this greedy guy is definitely not out to exorcise demons. Seeing Lu Chuang standing there counting the money with a happy face, Lorna looked disdainful and scoffed at this behavior. Then, she lowered her head and counted the banknotes in her hand. It doesn't mean anything else, it's just that I can't trust this priest with a bad personality. After all, this is my hard-earned money, after all, I have to be more cautious. Which one is this? Lu Chuang did some calculations, and this is already the 13th vampire they killed secretly. During this period, his mana has increased by about 1/10 of the original, and the growth rate is still very obvious. Brushing monsters increases the sense of experience. Lu Chuang waved his hand. Keep going. Let's brush the copy all night tonight, whoever walks is the dog. Hurry up, I'm in a hurry. Lorna said impatiently, if it wasn't for the money. For the sake of solving vampires and eliminating harm for the people, she would have gone home to rest a long time ago. Why would she stay in such a ghostly place for so long? Lu Chuang nodded, and continued to run into the bar to find the target. Sir, if I could take a moment of your time, I would like to speak to you about our God and Savior. Among the huge amounts of villas, a blond young man was sitting by the pool. He was holding a wine glass, shaking the blood-red viscous liquid, and his posture was full of pretentious aristocratic etiquette. And he was surrounded by 2 women with blood-red pupils. The fangs in their mouths were stained with scarlet blood, and they pressed against the young man to continuously generate friction. At this time, a strong man came over, leaned into the young man's ear and whispered, Fez, there is a problem with a property on our site. Under the faint light, Faith's skin looked extremely pale. He took a sip of the blood-red liquid in the wineglass, and said lazily, What's the problem this time? Are those idiots doing business and being discovered by the guests, or are there troubles? The movement attracted the police. It's not surprising that these things happen. Every once in a while something happens in his industry. However, Faith is not worried about this. After all, the police also have their people, that is, the group of human beings who dream of becoming vampires. In order to have the ability of immortality, many people are willing to sell their bodies or even soul, let alone become a vampire's slave. In Faith's eyes, vampires are the higher races. And human beings are nothing but their slaves and food. The strong man shook his head. No, it's our people who discovered that many vampires in the bar suddenly disappeared. Hearing the strong man's words, Faith's eyes flashed with blood. He immediately pushed the two women away, stared at the strong man and asked, "What's going on? Did Daywalker appear again?" "It's not clear. All the monitors in the bar were damaged, and we couldn't find a specific reason. However, according to the guests at the bar, some people seemed to see a broom sweeping dust in the corner that night, some heard green elves or something, and some even saw a green ghostly figure, plus a large number of vampires suddenly disappeared in the bar." The muscular man had a strange expression. Nowadays there are rumors about a witch with a long nose and green skin. The vampires are worried that there is a witch hunting vampires. They are too scared to come to our bar. Faith's expression froze, with an expression of, "You're King kidding me. It's their vampires' territory. Even if urban legends are mostly about vampires, where did this witch come from?" The most outrageous thing about 0.9 is that a group of vampires are actually afraid of a witch in a fairy tale. Should I praise you for your childlike innocence? Faith took a deep breath and asked, "How about the group of humans? Were they also scared away by the so-called witches?" "That's not true. After hearing the legend of the witch, those human beings came here more happily. Every day, some YouTube celebrities come to our bar to shoot videos, just to witness the legendary witch with their own eyes, and then upload them to the YouTube account to attract fans." Faith: "Well, these humans are bolder than their vampires. Do humans like to die so much?" The strong man continued, "Fez, the daily benefits of our bar are almost more than the combined benefits of other industries. The family suggested that we change the bar into an internet celebrity bar, and hire some famous YouTube internet celebrities to go to the bar. There will be a live broadcast in the store." The corner of Faith's mouth twitched. Which businessman came up with this idea? It makes a damn sense. But, making their noble vampires serve humans? It. Don't even think about it. As you write it, it becomes a big chapter. What the hell? That bar owned by a vampire has now become a mecca for online celebrity check-ins. Even the name has changed from the Bloody Bar to the Witch's Bar, and the icon is still the long-nosed green-skinned witch from fairy tales? After 3 days, Lu Chuang listened to what Lorna slowly narrated on the phone, with a dumbfounded expression. Who the hell came up with this idea? So King creative. Lu Chuang never imagined that there are crouching dragons and phoenixes hidden among the vampires, so he transformed the vampire's hunting ground into a holy place for online celebrity check-in, and directly changed the horror painting style to the earthy painting style. Why don't you find a vampire to live broadcast headshots for veterans, and guarantee that it will be popular all over the world the next day? It was difficult for Lu Chuang to accept this reality for a while, but Lorna on the other end of the phone couldn't bear it anymore. An angry voice came from the phone. "You bastard priest. I've said it countless times, my name is Lorna. Lorna, if I'm not green elf, you just won't listen. Well, here comes a damn witch legend, and now the bar has become an internet celebrity bar, and all those vampires are gone. My pocket money is gone." From Lorna's words, it can be seen how angry she is at the moment, and she even forgot to cover up her true thoughts. Since the bar had their own harvest, Lu Chuang and Lorna made an appointment to go to that bar every night to hunt vampires. Lu Chuang was in charge of seduction, Lorna was in charge of control, and then Lu Chuang was in charge of harvesting, and finally the two shared the small money equally. Although their cooperation is becoming more and more tacit, it is inevitable that people will find out if they do this kind of thing too much, especially Lorna's hair color is hard to avoid being noticed. As the person concerned, it is actually not difficult to guess what the truth of this witch legend is. Even so, Lorna could not accept this fact. Not to mention her, there must be no girl who can accept her image, which looks like a witch with green skin, long nose, and wrinkled skin in The Wizard of Green Rice. Now Lorna can't even imagine what kind of scene it will be if she is found to be a legendary witch. It will be a scene of social death. And Lorna heard that many mutants have their own code names. So what should she be called? Witch. This code name sounds like a super evil villain. The more Lorna thought about it, the angrier she became. She wished she could directly strangle Lu Chuang's neck through the phone. Hearing Lorna's worry, Lu Chuang comforted. "It's okay. Now only I know that you are that witch, and I promise I won't tell it. Except for the two of us, no third person will know that you are a witch. What witch? Is it the witch legend that has become popular on YouTube recently? Next to him, the little Peter who was doing exercises suddenly raised his head and exclaimed, "My God, you even know a witch. Could it be that she is also a superhero?" Little Peter's voice was unusually loud, and Lu Chuang could clearly feel that Lorna on the other end of the phone paused for a few seconds. "You bastard god." Toot toot. Lu Chuang hung up the phone directly. He was afraid that if he continued speaking, Lorna would turn into a green Titan Hulk in anger. However, Lu Chuang couldn't help feeling a little pity when he heard that the bar owned by the vampire was gone. After 3 days of struggle, the mana in his body has increased by nearly half. There is just one problem. For the application of mana, Lu Chuang is still stuck in the rough technique of attaching weapons or other people. He instinctively thinks that there will be a better way to use it, but he just has no clue. In this regard, Lu Chuang already has plans. He knows that there are real spells in the Marvel world. Maybe he can learn the corresponding skills when he finds those spells. Putting down the phone, Lu Chuang looked at little Peter with a smile. "Little Peter, why don't you have time to play with the computer recently? Do you think there are too few exercises? It just so happens that I made a small amount of money as a big brother recently. Why don't I give you 30 kilograms? Let's treat it as an early birthday present." Little Peter almost missed his pen. He hasn't finished half of the 30-pound exercises that Lu Chuang sent before, and now the weight unit has been doubled, which is killing him. Little Peter quickly raised his hand and explained, "I use the computer for a reason. It's the design drawing of the steel armor. I want to check the price of the materials, but I found that those materials are a bit expensive." Lu Chuang curled his lips in disdain. As a millionaire, he was fearless and patted his chest and said, "Little Peter, you may not know me very well. I have nothing good about me. I just have money, and I can use money to solve the problem. It's not a problem, just give me a number. How much will it cost in total?" "Really, that's great. I roughly calculated, it's not much, only 50 million United States dollars is enough." Lu Chuang suddenly fell silent. After a long time, Lu Chuang slowly said, "I suddenly feel that my self-awareness is still not clear enough. You continue to do exercises here and I will go out to blow the air." The little Peter looked at Lu Chuang in confusion, only feeling that the other person's back seemed a little lonely. He was young and didn't know. The collapse of adults is often just a moment. "Weasel, I'm out of money." In Sister Margaret's bar, Lu Chuang put the pistol on the table with a snap, and said bluntly. The weasel widened his eyes, and said in a panic, "It's useless if you want to rob me. I'm just a poor man. If you want to rob, go and rob that guy Wade. He must have money. If you need it, I can also tell you where he lives." As expected of a good brother, facing Lu Chuang's threat, Weasel resolutely sold Wade. "What a mess." Lu Chuang explained. "I mean, I want to go back to work and continue to be my mercenary, so you quickly introduce me to the commission." Hearing Lu Chuang's words, Weasel breathed a sigh of relief. "You said it earlier, you almost scared me to death. I saw you pulled out your gun, and thought you were trying to rob me. How is it possible? I know your home address. If I want it, won't I just break through the door and take it directly?" Seeing that the weasel didn't speak, Lu Chuang said anxiously, "Quickly find out if anyone else wants to offer me a reward, preferably a high reward." The weasel was startled. It wasn't the first time he saw someone wishing to be rewarded by the island. He shook his head. "No, since that time you were caught. I mean after you caught yourself, there is no news of a bounty on you." Lu Chuang secretly thought it was a pity. It seems that this shortcut to get quick money is impossible. "Well, I'm just asking casually, it doesn't mean anything else. Has Wade been offered a reward?" "I know what you want to do, but unfortunately, no. By the way, I remember that you and Wade made a lot of money a while ago. How long has it passed? Why are you suddenly short of money?" "Forget it. I wanted a bigger figure, but in the end I couldn't afford it. It's just a toy. How much is it worth?" "Not much, just 50 million United States dollars. The weasel looked skeptical about life. "Is it because I can't keep up with the times, and now the figures are so valuable?" Lu Chuang sighed. In fact, he also forgot that the price of making a set of steel armor is not cheap. The material of the steel armor is the top aviation material. For a big rich like Tony Stark, This amount of money is naturally not a problem. They make dozens of sets every minute and blow them up in the air as fireworks. But the problem is that now Lu Chuang's total assets are not even a fraction of Tony Stark's. Lu Chuang has made some calculations, and with his current funds, he can at most make a steel crotch. Well, it seems that the world is changing too fast. Weasel shrugged, and then skillfully took out a stack of black cards. These are high-paying tasks, you can see for yourself. Lu Chuang flipped through the black cards, skipping those that didn't meet the requirements, and soon saw an interesting commission. Target: Frank Amick commissioned content. Kill the drug lord Amick, and the range of activities is in New York. Remuneration: 5 million USD. Just seeing the name of the commissioned target, Lu Chuang thought it was Frank the Punisher, but after looking back, he realized that it was a drug lord in New York. I took this commission. Seeing this generous reward, Lu Chuang chose this commission without thinking too much. The weasel glanced at the black card, showing an inexplicable expression. Wait a minute, the situation of this entrustment is a bit special. Special? Well, before accepting the entrustment, the employer has a special requirement, that is, he wants to personally confirm the strength of the entrusting party. Only after passing the test can he accept the entrustment. Hearing what the weasel said, Lu Chuang was a little surprised. According to her, usually employers hide behind the scenes to issue commissions, trying to ensure that they do not reveal their identities, but this employer jumped out and asked to confirm the strength of the mercenaries. This is the first time he has heard of such a thing. In view of the strangeness of the commission, Lu Chuang couldn't help asking, "Are you sure there is no problem with the commission this time?" Lu Chuang has not forgotten the commission to sabotage the gangster's deal. The reward was only 100,000 yuan, so he took on a risk of tens of millions. Although Boss Jin made compensation afterwards, this kind of entrustment that is full of scams can still be avoided as much as possible. The weasel knew that Lu Chuang was worried, and said helplessly, "You can rest assured this time, because some of us have already taken over the commission before you, but they were all driven back by the employer because their strength is not up to standard. An employer also specifically contacted me, saying that there is no need to contact him if you will be like this in the future." Lu Chuang immediately became interested when he heard this. He had no choice but to see such an arrogant person with his own eyes. "It's all said and done. As the leader of Sister Margaret's bar, it seems that I have to accept this commission." Weasel is speechless. When did you become the leader here? Do other mercenaries know about this? However, Weasel also knows Lu Chuang's strength. In a sense, Lu Chuang can indeed be regarded as the number one in their Sister Margaret's bar, and alongside him is the number two Wade. "Okay, I'll contact the employer right away." In the outskirts, a deserted construction site. The location mentioned by the employer should be here. At the moment Lu Chuang was wearing a black hooded jacket. The hood and a black mask covered his entire head, only revealing two dark eye sockets. According to the designated location required by the employer, he walked into the construction site. After all, he was meeting an unknown employer, so he still had to cover up. But the question is, why does he feel that this place looks familiar? "Hey, are you the mercenary who accepted the commission this time?" A pretentiously deep and sweet child's voice came from behind. Lu Chuang turned his head to look, and saw a purple-haired little girl in a purple leather jacket with a black eye patch standing behind her. At first glance she looked like a little guy imitating a superhero. However, she was firmly holding a modified pistol in her hand. From her standard gun-holding posture, it can be seen that this little girl has definitely received professional firearms training. Being pointed at by the gun, Lu Chuang didn't feel nervous at all, and said cheerfully, "Yes, then you must be the employer, right? You're smart, it looks like you're better than the previous ones." Seeing that Lu Chuang didn't question her identity, the purple-haired little girl was very satisfied. She put away her pistol and said, "However, I still have to test your strength." "Well, how do you want to test it? Why don't I give you a set of lightning 5 consecutive whips?" Lu Chuang rolled up his sleeves, planning to give the rich lowly boss the whole job. Etc. The purple-haired little girl quickly stopped. She felt that this new mercenary seemed a little excited. "You are a mercenary, right? First of all, it definitely depends on your marksmanship. No, where is your gun? As a mercenary, do you do missions without a gun?" The purple-haired girl looked at Lu Chuang, after confirming that he did not see any traces of firearms, said in a panic, So you wanted to see this? I told you earlier, my gun is here. Lu Chuang waved his arm, and instantly there were 2 more pistols in his hands. He had long been proficient in the skill of spear concealment. With the 2 pistols hidden on his body, outsiders could not see any traces at all. Cool, it seems that you do have some strength. Seeing this scene, the purple-haired little girl was a little surprised, then pointed, well, to the distance and said, see those bottles, as long as you hit them all with a pistol, you will be considered as passing the first level. Lu Chuang looked in the direction, and there were 4 glass bottles placed horizontally about 100 meters away. For ordinary gunmen, it is really difficult to hit these bottles with a pistol with a short range at this distance. No problem, handsome. After saying that, Lu Chuang swung his right hand sharply, and the bullet escaped. Before the purple-haired girl saw the movement clearly, she saw 4 glass bottles shatter from right to left. With a gunshot, 4 glass bottles shattered. This. The purple-haired little girl stared wide-eyed, as if she couldn't accept the scene in front of her. At this moment, she seemed to remember something, and suddenly turned her head to look at Lu Chuang. Wait. I remember you, you're that superhero. That's right, it's me. Lu Chuang took off his mask and hood, and directly revealed his true face. After seeing Lu Chuang's appearance, the purple-haired little girl exclaimed, it's really you. As she spoke, she also took off the black mask. The other party was the little lowly Mindy that Lu Chuang had seen before. From the beginning of seeing this outfit, Lu Chuang already knew that the other party was Mindy. Same place, same 2 people. The only difference is that there is one missing Big Daddy, the werewolf who pointed a gun at his daughter. Lu Chuang asked curiously, why don't you see your father? Hearing his words, Mindy's eyes dimmed instantly, and he said in a low mood, Big Daddy is dead, it's Frank Amick who did it. Amick killed my mother, and Big Daddy and I have always wanted to avenge Amick, but a week ago we were ambushed and surrounded by Amick's men. Big Daddy wanted to cover, I ended up dying at their hands. Lu Chuang has already taken off the priest's black robe, but the aura of a super high school priest is still there, and this matter has been suppressed in his heart. Mindy can't help but confide to Lu Chuang. Although she received a Spartan-style education since she was a child, she was still a child. Seeing her father die in front of her eyes was hard for an adult, let alone a little girl who was only 11 years old. Well, sure enough, something went wrong. In fact, after finding out that Big Daddy was not there, Lu Chuang basically guessed what happened. Without dwelling on this topic, Lu Chuang asked, so, you issued this commission yourself? Well, I used the dark web left by Big Daddy to issue commissions. As for the reward. Mindy hesitated at 710, and under the influence of Lu Chuang's super high school priest, she chose to believe Lu Chuang, saying, it's the stolen money that Big Daddy and I got from fighting criminals before. Big Daddy has already deposited this money into the account in advance, and I can use it as I like. Understood. Lu Chuang didn't continue to ask, and simply said, then let's continue, what is the next test? No need, if it's you, there must be no problem. Mindy wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. She was a strong little girl. The death of Big Daddy did not make her feel scared. Instead, she became more determined to kill Amick, the big enemy, and avenged her dead mother and Big Daddy. Mindy calmed down, and said with a serious expression, I've decided to hire you to help me kill Frank Atchen. Assist. Yes, regardless of my young age, I am very strong. Mindy was afraid that Lu Chuang would not believe it, so she raised her gun and aimed a few shots at the nearby target. It was originally the test content of Lu Chuang's next level, but now it became a prop for her to prove her strength. Lu Chuang took a look and hit the bullseye with his gun. It can be seen that the gun in Mindy's hand has also been modified, reducing the power and recoil, and improving the hit rate and stability, which is very suitable for a little girl like Mindy. After showing his strength, Mindy said to himself, as long as the 2 of us work together, we will definitely be able to kill that bastard Amick this time, and I have already found Amick's location, which is in a corner of the Bronx district. Inside the building, that surface is the top floor of the furniture company. Lu Chuang raised his hand. I want to ask, what is your plan? As a temporary worker hired by Mindy, out of professional ethics, Lu Chuang should have asked the boss about his request. It's very simple. When the time comes, I will disguise myself as a lost little girl, sneak into the building and kill the janitor, and then I will put you in and kill the top floor together. What a perfect plan, almost catching up with Wade. Lu Chuang thought for a while and said, I think this plan is good, but there is a little flaw. What blemish? The risk of exposure is too great, and it may be discovered by the enemy at any time. Mindy shrugged his head. I know, but I have observed that building. It is full of Amek's men, and there are cameras everywhere. It is too difficult for us to sneak in, so we can only adopt a storm strategy, as many as they can kill before they find out. In this case, why don't you listen to my next assassination plan? Assassination plan? Yes, it's the assassination plan. Lu Chuang showed a bright smile. Don't worry, the purpose of our mercenary service is to ensure the safety of the employer, but also to ensure that the employer can enjoy the most perfect killer experience. I have a one-stop supreme package for cremation. Are you interested? Learn about? Amek Building, on the surface, is a furniture company, but secretly it is a drug trafficking organization used to sell drugs. And Frank Amek is the drug lord of this drug trafficking organization. In the office on the top floor of the building, Amek was sitting on an office chair with a large floor-to-ceiling window behind him. In the spacious room stood a circle of subordinates, all of whom were equipped with submachine guns. One of his subordinates is reporting. We didn't find the purple-haired masked girl, but I found out that someone posted a commission to kill you on the dark web recently, and it's very likely that the masked girl did it. Amek's face was full of indifference. It doesn't matter, anyway, that damn masked man is dead. What can a mere little girl do? As for the entrustment, there are a lot of people who want me to die, but I'm still alive and well now. Amek stood up and said viciously, if they really dare to come, I guarantee that they will never come back. I will inform the people on the first floor to be vigilant. If any strangers are found entering the building, especially little girls, they will be arrested immediately. Up for interrogation. Okay, boss. Also, arrange more people to guard the office and protect me at all times to prevent someone from sneaking in to assassinate me. I don't believe it. I can kill me in the face of so many people. Okay, drawing board. Amek curled his lips in disdain. He didn't think anyone could kill him in such a heavily guarded building. Unless a whole team of heavily armed mercenaries was hired for a fire raid, it would be impossible for just a few people to break into the top floor of the building. Amek turned to face the floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the city below him, and he liked the condescending feeling. At this time, he felt a flash of white light, which made him squint his eyes subconsciously. What? Amek looked up, and there was also a tall building in the distance, and the roof was facing his direction. At the moment, a large and a small figure were standing on the rooftop. The taller figure held a sniper rifle in his hand and pointed it at his position. The white light just now was reflected from the lens of the magnifying glass. Boom. Accompanied by a dull impact, Amek couldn't help shaking. On the floor-to-ceiling window in front of him, a sniper bullet suddenly appeared, and the bullet got stuck in the thick glass, right on the forehead of Amek. It's a pity that the sniper bullet didn't penetrate the floor-to-ceiling window, and was directly blocked in front of Amek. Amek was startled at first, then turned to the two figures opposite, and laughed wantonly. Ha ha ha, this piece of glass is made of special materials, even a grenade can't be blown up, just rely on you two idiots to think kill me and go dreaming. Boom. Suddenly, there was another crash. Amek was horrified to find that the sniper bullet in front of him was hit by the sniper bullet behind and pushed forward a little bit, like a hammer hitting a nail, slowly driving the nail into the glass. Boom. Like the knocking sound of Death God, the sniper bullets gradually sank into the floor-to-ceiling windows, and the bullets almost came out of the glass. Under the threat of sniper bullets, Amek finally got scared and didn't dare to stand still. He ran to the back of the office and shouted, "There is a killer on the other side. Call everyone to come up." Boom. At the moment, someone noticed that the sniper bullet had been completely drilled out, and nearly half of it was firmly stuck in the glass. In an instant, the sniper bullets burst into dazzling flames. Boom. With the deafening explosion, the floor-to-ceiling windows shattered into countless pieces. Everyone standing in the office could feel the gusts of wind pouring into the room like a tide at this moment, but the figure on the opposite rooftop suddenly put away the sniper rifle and pulled up a long banner. The words on it were clearly visible. "Come on. Let's shoot at the middle door. Too arrogant." Between the lines, even the punctuation marks reveal an extremely arrogant atmosphere. Amek blushed with anger. He didn't expect that the other party was even more arrogant than himself. "You know, There are more than a dozen people here, but there are only 2 people on the opposite side. Even if this guy has a sniper rifle, within the range of less than 100 meters, the submachine gun in their hands can easily shoot to the rooftop. They can have an absolute advantage in terms of firepower alone. Why are the 2 of them so arrogant? But soon, Amick knew why. With the help of another person, the little figure moved a cylindrical weapon to the fixture, with huge amounts of holes facing the direction of the office. Amick and his subordinates can see that this is not a sniper rifle, it is clearly a rocket launcher. The F*K is calling this a sniper. Maybe it was because the roof was a bit cold. The little figure sucked his nose and showed them a childlike smile. Then, without any hesitation, the launch button was pushed. Boom.